We go now to Amber Athey, Washington editor of The Spectator and author of the Snowflakes Revolt, How Woke Millennials Hijacked American Media. Amber, great to see you again. A lot to unpack here today. But first, President Joe Biden made it official yesterday, announcing his re-election bid. I want to get your thoughts on that. And also, what did you think about the video he released?
It seems like Joe Biden is going back to the old standby of trying to bait Trump into this discussion about bigotry and race in America. That was how he, of course, launched his 2020 campaign, by accusing the former president of not denouncing neo-Nazis in Charlottesville. And this is, of course, a departure from what was supposed to be a unifying campaign from Joe Biden, but unfortunately not a surprise given the rhetoric that we've heard from him about his political opponents throughout his administration thus far. But it does seem like at the same time, the Democrats don't really have any alternatives. Joe Biden is still the de facto leader of the party. And as much as the media has tried to prop up people like Pete Buttigieg and Kamala Harris as potential replacement candidates, the polling is clear that despite how low Biden's approval rating is, he's still the best chance that they have.
Well, and as you know, there have been some other Democrats that have thrown their hats into the ring recently, including Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Bobby Kennedy's son, and, of course, the nephew of the late President John F. Kennedy. And since he announced last week, his poll numbers were in the double digits. So I think about 14% of Biden supporters say that they would actually back Kennedy. That's according to a USA Today Suffolk University poll. So what do you make of that, and what do you think that signals?
That's certainly the danger of having the leader of the party being so unpopular among Americans and having basically reluctant Biden voters. A lot of people who voted for Joe Biden did so because they wanted a return to normalcy. And instead, they've seen his administration bring even more chaos into their lives, particularly when it comes to economic issues. A new NBC poll, for example, found that they had historic high levels of people saying that they did not view the economy as getting better over the next couple of years. And that's a concerning thing for an incumbent president. Not to mention the fact that that Joe Biden and the Democrats have talked about not having debates in the primary. So they're trying to freeze out these alternative candidates, which doesn't look good to people who would prefer maybe an option when it comes to who gets to run against the eventual Republican nominee.
I want to pivot here and talk about the GOP. There has been a lot of talk about how Republicans should approach abortion heading into the 2024 campaign season. Amber, what role do you see abortion playing in the elections, and how would you like to see it handled by Republicans?
It's obviously an issue that Democrats are going to bring up pretty repeatedly because they view that as sort of their golden goose. They believe it's why they won comparatively in the 2022 midterm elections. And I think Republicans need to be honest and need to stop shying away from the issue. It's not a secret that the Republican candidates thus far are pro-life. They should be honest about that fact and not shy away from the issue, because it looks like if you refuse to talk about it or you pivot to another issue, that you're embarrassed or ashamed of your position. I think Republicans need to be proud of the fact that they're pro-life and talk about the ways that they'll work across the aisle to try to bring the United States on par with other countries around the world in their abortion restrictions. The United States has the most radical abortion policy of first world countries. And I think conservatives and Republicans would do really well to mention that fact to people who do support restrictions like a 6-week or 15-week ban.
Amber, we have probably about a minute left or so, but what other stories are you following?
I'm following a new Democratic piece of legislation that would signal to Border Patrol agents that they should catch and release illegal migrants who identify as LGBTQ+. This is obviously something that would be rife for abuse, where you have migrants claiming to be a member of that category so that they can be released into the United States and not held in detention. And the reason the Democrats are pushing that is they claim that LGBTQ individuals, particularly migrants, are more likely to be the victims of violence and sexual abuse. But that, to me, sounds like a reason to perhaps make sure that these detention facilities are safer, not to give special priority to individuals just because of their sexual or gender orientation.
Well, Amber, we're going to leave it right there. Thank you so much for weighing in. Always appreciate it. Great to be with you.